Our story begins inside a demon sage annex. The MC Jin Sohan is standing in front of two figures. They inquire whenever he really has to leave. One of them is fourth evildoer Poison Demon and the other one is his twin the medical sage. He has been with them for 10 years and both of them doubt the sword dance clan still remains. The chaos sect would have already dealt with it. Sohan agrees. Sohan has spent 14 years with the clan as they took him in as an orphan. After a friendly banter his masters give him two farewell gifts. The poison demon gives him the twin moon blades and the medical sage gives him an ashen fan, warning him how dangerous the martial world is and bid their goodbyes. Sohan thanks them for everything, then he reaches the Moon Knight province where the sword dance clan was. He reminisces about his past wondering if everyone is safe. The place is completely different as he remembered it. The only thing remaining the same was the Crested Inn. After walking inside he sensed the same old harsh atmosphere. The owner greets him and Sohan recognizes him instantly as Dogon, but Dogon doesn't seem to know who he is, thinking he is just an outsider. He is sure there is going to be a fight soon. From the distance a random person mocks him for wearing black clothes, which signifies challenge. Sohan excuses himself as it's the only pair of clothes he has. The person inquires about his visit. He says he is returning to here because it's his hometown, claiming he lived right across the street, the Moon Knight parlor, which is a brothel now. One of the random person goons call him pretentious because he is a mere brothel child. Sohan says right now it might be Moon Knight parlor but back then it was Crescent Moon Sword Dance Group. You have to mean the Crescent Moon Female Dancer Group. No, it was Crescent Moon Sword Dancer Group, he responds agitated. What's the difference anyway? But he hasn't heard the term in a long while. Sohan asks him if he knows anything about it. Sohan buys a bottle and offers it to the random guy alongside a seat next to him. The random doesn't worry and approaches without hesitation. He is surprised of Sohan's confidence and lack of respect and inquires about his affiliation. The response shocks him as he claims there is no one backing him. Random guy is pleased to hear it and starts scheming. Dogon, where is the liquor? He yells out. Sohan offers him the liquor for his stories about Sword Dance Group. Why the Sword Dance Group, he wonders. Does that mean you know about Ash Blood sect as well? Sohan confirms he knows they are criminal sect from this region. 10 years ago the Ash Blood sect reached their hands and went for the beautiful women of Sword Dance Group. Right now they control the Western Dark Country, but back then they poisoned one of their subordinates and framed the Sword Dance Group. After a rough battle the Sword Dance Group fell to ruin, but not all of them died. The Ash Blood sect leader took in some women but nobody knows if they are still alive. The random guy sees a change in Sohan suddenly and tries to take a leave. Sohan asks if he is from the Ash Blood sect. The random guy and his goons get alerted but the guy tried to backpedal. One of the goons approaches and tells Sohan and asks if he knows anyone called Du Hyang. The random guy tells his goon to shut up. The goon continues and says Du Hyang hasn't died in the incident and was set up in a quiet place. Random guy loses it and yells at his goons to shut up already, but they only mock him for being scared of Sohan. Sohan menacingly mentions the beauty of Du Hyang and pours another cup. The goons provoke Sohan, insulting her. Random guy tries to play it off as if they are drunk but goons instantly deny it. Then in an instant 2 chopsticks fly and land inside the heads of the goons, killing them. Random guy can only watch in terror. Suddenly he staggers and notices his own blade is stuck inside his chest, killing him. After the fight is over, Dogon approaches Sohan's table, not believing his own eyes. Sohan calls out for him and asks him if he still does not recognize him. Is he someone Dogon should know? But after a proper look he sees the child Sohan used to be. Dogon wonders, where has he been all this time? Everyone thought he was dead. What have you been doing all the time, he asks. Sohan reminisces about all the struggles he went through as his master's test subject, but his response is a lie. Dogon is happy to see him well and alive and claims the sword dance troupe has been searching for him with a lot of people, which surprises Sohan. They have always been looking for him on their free time. Dogon apologizes about bringing it up. Sohan brings up hefty sum of money and pays for both the food and for the mess he made. He takes his leave, but Dogon wonder where is he doing to sleep. He responds at the parlor. Wooya, Do-gon warns him about the Ash Blood sect, but So-han doesn't care and leaves. Do-gon bids him farewell and welcomes him back anytime. Approaching the parlor, the guards inquire whenever he is looking for a specific girl. So-han names a bunch, but the guards don't recognize any of them. He walks in and the guard recommends to watch the performance. Music plays and people are clapping as two ladies are dancing with swords on a stage, waving their swords around. So-han recognizes the dance, but it's very poorly done. So-han notices a figure on a balcony and glares at them. The guard lets him know it's the owner and to not glare for he might get into trouble. So-han walks up to the stairs, but another pair of guards stop him. He claims he came to meet the owner, but they inquire about whenever he has an appointment or not. After he denies, the guard gets agitated. Another person walks down the stair, which seems to be the guard's captain. His name is Chu Sa-hyuk. He warns So-han to be careful not to overstep or he might lose his life. "That's enough," yells out the owner. "No need to make a fuss, just come up here, what's the big deal?" Following the captain, So-han walks into the owner's room. So-han walks in and casually takes a seat. The owner wonders what makes him act this way. The owner proposes they drink and talk. While observing So-han, he takes a sip and thinks to himself how naive of him to drink a poisonous drink. So-han recognizes the drink is poisoned. The owner inquires about the taste and So-han responds it's good and asks for one more glass. "Why did you come to meet me?" he wonders. So-han claims he has business with the owner, but before that, how dare they try to poison him? The owner gets surprised, recognized a colorless, odorless poison, but laughs out loudly because he has already been poisoned. The owner asks the women to leave. Depending on So-han's attitude, the owner might give him an antidote, he says, but So-han doesn't need one. The owner thinks it's a bluff, but So-han just says it's his turn now, and the guards start dropping like flies, which surprises the guard captain and the owner. Suddenly the guard captain starts choking and so does the owner, falling on the ground. So-han brings out his fan and says he poisoned them all, claiming he was just as careful as the owner meeting with strangers. The owner wonders how is it even possible he poisoned them all and starts thinking, why is he even doing all this? "You are the one who poisoned me first," says So-han. "You should die if you get caught poisoning." The owner threatens him with the Ash Blood sect because he is a member. The parlor is owned by the sect as well, so he proposes he will stay silent if he just let them live. The owner thinks he has an upper hand, but So-han mentions Crescent Moon Sword Dance Group. That shocks him. There used to be a sword dance group here originally. Before the night parlor settled in, he explains. The guard captain sees an opening and dashes towards So-han with his sword. So-han repels his attack without even batting an eye, which staggers the captain. So-han commends his attack but won't let him survive if he decides to strike again. Meanwhile, the owner whips out his dagger and tries to jab So-han with it. With a quick slash, So-han slices the owner in half without any effort. Without believing what just happened, the owner breathes his last breath. So-han then turns to the captain and inquires about his name. The captain recognizes their power difference and acknowledges he has closer to an evil man than orthodox sect. From now on, the parlor owner is So-han with the captain's cooperation. However, he doesn't forgive him for the ambush and gives him a poison pill to swallow. The captain takes it as he doesn't want to die in an instant. So-han explains there is no antidote known to the locals, he better behave. Then he asks for the keys to the auction house and storage room. He leaves to take a look at the storage and orders him to clean up. The captain asks for So-han's title and So-han responds with Crescent Moon Group Leader. After So-han leaves, captain orders his men to clean up and acknowledges So-han as the owner. In the storage room he doesn't find many useful items besides 100-year knotweed. It has low quality, but at least it's useful, so he decides to absorb it. The next day the captain walks in on So-han cultivating. So-han inquires how long will it take for Ash Blood sect to notice what happened. 2 or 3 days is the answer. So-han orders all the employees to leave if they desire so without any conditions. For people who want to go back he orders 10 times the pay, but that would mean taking Ash Blood sect's money, the captain complains. After hearing they store quite a bit of their money in this parlor, he orders him to make it 20 times the normal amount. As the employees are leaving and Sohan overlooks it with Captain Sahyuk, he suggests some of them might report to Ash Blood Clan, but that doesn't faze Sohan. Sahyuk asks if his actions are related to the lunar dance troupe because he has been listening on his conversation with the previous owner. Sohan then confirms his goal is a revenge against the Ash Blood Clan and that he is acting on his own. He can't believe they took over Eastern Dark Streets while he was away. In fact, the Ash Blood Clan manage 4 brothels, 3 martial halls, 2 merchant associations and 2 establishments. They can mobilize at least few hundred people. But Sohan doesn't need to fight them all, only some of its leaders, just like in the parlor. Sahyuk wonders if he just needs to get the antidote and dip, considering Sohan is this careless. Then Sohan suddenly tells him that he and his subordinates can leave, which stuns Sahyuk. He suggests they take a lot of money with them too, but the only thing Sahyuk is thinking about is the antidote and mentions it. Sohan scares him, telling him his limbs would melt away in a few days without it. This angers Sahyuk. Sohan brings out blue pills from his coat and Sahyuk thinks it's an antidote, so he quickly grabs the pill and eats it. Sohan can only stare at him dumbfounded, asking him why did he just eat it without knowing what it is. What did I just eat then? Poison. Sohan just wanted to show him what the real poison looks like because the thing he ate before was fake. Sohan casually walks up to the table and pours himself some wine. This angers Sahyuk further, feeling tricked. He furiously sits down and asks for a drink himself. Are you going to kill me for asking for a drink? I am going to die to the poison anyway, he says. Sohan complies and pours him a drink. After chugging down the drink, he claims he will stay with Sohan in the parlor. He is going to die anyway to the Ash Blood Clan, so might as well put up a fight. Then he asks for another drink. The scene switches to the Ash Blood Clan headquarters. The leader is furious about the news of one man taking over the parlor all by himself. The reports say he used a poison, which makes more sense to the leader. Then one of the commanders speak up. It's the Razor Wind Squad captain. He promises to take care of it without any further complications. Scheming about managing the parlor after he takes control of it back at the parlor, Sohan is munching on some sweets casually alongside Sahyuk. Then they get alerted when the Razor Wind Squad appears. Sahyuk explains they are part of the Ash Blood Clan and only brought the elites. In that case, Sohan decides to meet the guests himself. After walking into the parlor, the squad captain orders his troops to be careful and drag out the instigator. Meanwhile, his eyes shine with greed. The troops report there is nobody inside. They don't believe someone would remain after messing with the Ash Blood sect. Even most of the money remained. Suddenly 2 people walk through the entrance. It's Sohan and Sahyuk. The troops tell them off. Sohan commented he expected more people. The squad captain suddenly realizes he is the instigator. Sohan orders Sahyuk to close the doors. The whole squad prepares for a combat. The squad captain tells him he should have ran away as the whole squad rushes towards him. The first soldier slashes at him, but Sohan only swipes him off with the palm of his hand, sending him flying. Then he starts beating all of them one by one with his bare hands with unbelievable force until most of them are lying on the ground half dead. The rest decides to charge at him all at once, which proves to be completely useless. The squad captain is stunned and so is Sahyuk. Without even using his blades, he beats everyone easily. Sohan faces the squad captain and mocks him. Where did you come from and what do you want? He inquires and admires his skills. Sohan just responds, the Ash Blood Clan. Everything that the Ash Blood Clan owns. The squad captain suggests he talks to the leader rather than him. But Sohan doesn't believe his little tricks and won't let him off as easily. That leaves the squad captain no option but to fight. He hurls a dead body towards Sohan, expecting him to deflect it so he gets an opening to strike. But Sohan just strikes the dead body with insane amount of force towards the squad captain, which smashes him all the way to the wall. He looks for Sohan, but Sohan is already in the air preparing a kick, instantly snapping his neck, killing him. Sahyuk and the beat-up troops just end up staring at him in awe. Thanks for watching this manhwa recap. Please do subscribe for next part. The sauce is in the pinned comment.